What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We're back here for episode number 8. This is Bryce here.
It's T.
This is Ethan.
And we got some good stuff again for you today. We also got a really awesome interview with MLB Umpire Tony Randazzo. Awesome guy. The interview was great. Ethan, tell us what we got in the podcast today.
Coming up in the podcast, we're going to get into the NBA a little bit. We're going to talk some MLB stuff, give you guys a little breakdown about where the league is at right now. We have a new segment. We're going to throw in some hot takes. Each one of us has our own. That awesome interview Bryce talked about with a great MLB umpire. And Bryce is going to give us another embarrassing story.
Another embarrassing story. I freaking lost again. Everyone that voted is just wrong. Who did I pick?
No, that's all agreed. Yeah. That's all agreed. I definitely won. I definitely should have won.
Just want to point out, if you guys hear any smacking or chewing, Bryce is downing about 5 tacos right now.
3.
So,
shout out to Jackie's mom.
All right. So, what do you guys say? Should we jump into it right now?
We're gonna go to break real quick. As soon as we come back from the break, we'll jump right into the NBA.
Quick reminder here: this podcast is brought to you by Anchor, which is by far the most efficient way to start your own podcast. Anchor has all the tools you need to start your own podcast, which are easily available straight from your phone or computer. All these tools are free of charge, so go over and get started. Editing your podcast on Anchor is easier than ever, and making your podcast sound great is a breeze. One perk of Anchor is that making money is extremely easy, and there is no minimum listenership. Another thing that's great about Anchor is that it will distribute your podcast to as many platforms as you want to be heard on. If you're interested in starting your own podcast today, make sure you download the Anchor app or head to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to get this podcast going. Tennessee, what do you have from the sport of basketball?
Sport of basketball. At the professional level, at the highest professional level, or do you want to go like Turkey or something? Okay, all right. We're gonna go. We'll talk about the Turkish league. No, we'll talk about the NBA. Toronto and Philly. We'll talk about each series and got a little bit of. Bryce almost just fell in his chair. This is a whole scene that you guys are not seeing.
One day we'll have cameras and you can see what goes on.
Exactly. All right. Toronto and Philly. It's been 2 games since we have last had our podcast. Last night, Philly won Game 3, and it was pretty convincing, honestly. And in Game 2, Philly also bounced back. So, basically, Philly's got full control of the series. And it looks like they're getting it done in a lot of different ways. Jimmy Butler is kind of backing up what he's been talking about the past,
you mean James Butler?
No, his name is Jimmy, according to Jimmy Butler. But I guess what we're talking. What do you guys think about the series so far? Obviously, the Toronto side has not been good the past couple games. They won that first game off of basically 2 players. They're the only 2 in double figures, and then last night in the game before, their bench has only had 30 points in 3 games. So basically, they're not getting it done outside of Pascal and Kawhi. So what do you guys think?
No, I think that you're really starting to see Philadelphia's lineup really take over. I mean, Philadelphia should win just because they have the most talent on the court in comparison to the Raptors. But whenever you're not getting any production from your bench, it's hard to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, dude, what are you doing over there?
Just chilling.
Bryce is now shirtless.
Just go on, dude.
What do you have to say about the series?
I just gotta say that it's looking good. Dude, it's good. Okay, I took my shirt off because I'm trying to eat these tacos. The shirt's new. I'm trying not to get salsa on it. And the salsa's hot.
But why are you dying laughing over there?
Because I was squeezing this lime juice and lime shot all over my computer.
All right, well, there we go. Now I figured it out.
Anyways, there's your look at the series.
Yeah, there's a series. Yeah, okay. Boston, Milwaukee. Dude, this dude's just downing tacos.
So, Boston, Milwaukee.
Bryce, what do you think about the Boston, Milwaukee series?
I think that Giannis proved himself in Game 2. Right? There's only been 2 games?
Yep.
1-1?
Yeah, they play tonight, actually, I believe. Tonight or tomorrow.
Tonight or Friday. Or Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Giannis proved that Game 1 was a fluke. And Giannis is going to win this series. Not the Bucks.
Giannis. I don't know. I think that
Chris Middleton had a big game.
Chris Middleton's a dog. I mean, Bryce, remember when we saw him?
What do you have, like 36?
36, and it was like maybe the quietest 36
yeah.
I'd ever seen. And that was just a performance that I truly was not expecting. And he averages 25.5 points a game against the Celtics. He's 35 of 55 from the three against the Celtics this whole year. So I mean, he likes playing against his team. I don't know if it's matchups, I don't know what it is, but basically they're finding something in terms of Middleton against the Celtics. And Kyrie played poor, and that obviously contributed to them having such a lopsided victory. And Kyrie came out and said, he's like, this is what I signed up for. He had 9 points. He didn't play that well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think Kyrie wanted to step out of the shadow of LeBron, but I don't think Kyrie will be successful without LeBron.
I don't want any cheese,
Jesus
Bryce.
Christ, Bryce.
Yeah, and that brings us to our topic is, will he ever win without LeBron?
Him and KD go to New York next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it too.
No, he's one of those guys that does need another big
But can
game guy.
can he win this? Can he win a championship with this team even after they develop in 2 years? I don't think so.
I don't think Kyrie's that leader.
He does it. Yeah, I mean, he scores a lot of points, but he's never been. I don't think he's ever averaged more than 8 assists. He's always been like a 24, 6, and 4 type of guy.
Yeah.
And I think he does a little bit more off the stat sheet. He makes a lot of big shots, and I think he's a vocal leader, but I don't think he's a locker room guy in terms of where people are like when he steps. He's not the type of guy that steps into the locker room and people are like they look.
I don't know how that's gonna mesh though with him and KD in New York. I mean, that's two talented guys, but KD's that same way. KD's not a locker room guy. KD's one of those guys that just goes about his business, does his own thing, and I feel like Kyrie's kind of like that too. He's a little more vocal on the court, but I think that in the locker room, those two guys, I don't know if they're gonna mesh very well.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be curious. This summer is huge. There's a lot. I mean, Clay, there's KD, there's Kyrie, there's all sorts of teams. There's all sorts of teams that these players can go to, and who knows? And then there's obviously Kawhi. I think Kawhi's 100% leaving. So who knows what's gonna? Who knows?
He's coming to Golden State.
No, he's not. He's not. He'd be the best player on that team. He would be.
Ooh,
incorrect.
That is a terrible take.
No, he would be 100%.
You're canceled, Steph Curry.
No. That dude's averaging 20 points a game in the playoffs.
No, Matt, you know what he's also averaging?
What?
Double Hughes.
He's averaging double Hughes. All right, we'll move on to the Portland-Denver series. This one is only.
Hey, bro, we skipped Golden State, fool.
Okay, bro, I know that's gonna be done.
That's last.
That's gonna be.
That's last. That's last. We're moving on to the Portland-Denver series.
Fool, why are we doing that?
Stop it, fool. Just gonna talk about this Denver series, and then we'll go back to Golden State. All right, fool. Hopefully you guys are hearing this.
Can you stop it, fools? Get back to the stupid
All
podcast.
right, we're talking to Portland and Denver.
Nah, dude.
All right, was game one for Portland fueled by adrenaline? They had played Sunday, or they played on whatever day they played on Sunday in Game 7, and I think Tuesday they played in Game 1, or whatever it was. They had only had 2 days of rest, and then they came in and beat. Or Denver came in and beat Portland, they were at home, but still. So do you guys think that this game was fueled by adrenaline, and this game 2, obviously, happened a few nights ago, was kind of a little bit more realistic?
I definitely think it's more realistic. I mean, I feel like Denver has a little more talent, and I feel like both teams are inexperienced. I mean, I feel like Portland played the hot hand. They had just won a big game, or Denver just won a big game.
Yeah.
And they were pretty energy deprived.
Yeah, and the
definitely
rest. Yeah, the rest. They won in 5 games. So Denver. There's there's so many sides to this. Denver is going to be a little bit more tired, but they're also not out of a groove. They're playing with rhythm and momentum and flow because they had just played the night before. Portland had been waiting almost a week, if not a week, to play, and people think that shouldn't be an issue, but it happens with every team. If you don't play for weeks on end or days on end, you're going to get out of your rhythm, and it's hard to replicate the same result that you're trying to produce every single night if you're having breaks.
I mean, it's especially being done that long. Sorry.
What? Quit worrying about your tacos and freaking talk.
Tacos, my line.
It's definitely us two running this podcast.
Yes,
I'm
Bryce
talking
is
about
not here.
There's not a way to replicate, obviously, game scenarios in practice as much, especially NBA at the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it too may be that Denver just mentally is tired. I mean, they went through a series where they went against not even just the Spurs, but they went against Pop.
Yeah, and it's exhausting.
Yeah,
I mean, to
for,
go against
for all
the
parties.
best coach of all time,
Both
in my
mentally
opinion.
and physically.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many games do you think this series will go? And that kind of determines and affects the question that we have after this.
Yeah,
Bryce thinks this goes 6.
I'm thinking 6 too.
So Denver in 6. Okay, so I think it goes 6 or 7. I think it's definitely latter stages of a series.
They're pretty balanced. I think
both teams
it's a
have.
good matchup.
It's different for Denver went against drivers with Derek White and DeMar DeRozan. Now it's shooters.
Mm-hmm.
McCollum and Damian Lillard are shot first guys instead of drive first and try to get to the rim. But so it's a different way to guard, and I feel like it might be a little bit easier because you're worried about shots, and shots out there are way. I mean, it's a different percentage than shots at the rim.
Did you see that thing with Enes Kanter taking heat from the Denver fans?
Enes Kanter, yeah, he's good.
I hate you. Yeah, taking heat from the
Enes Kanter?
Dude, just let me talk.
Enes?
Dude, I'm just trying to win ball games.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna start treating this like this dude's Charles Barkley and I'm Shaq. I'm just gonna lose it on him.
There you go. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was funny. He was actually being dead serious.
Yeah.
He's like, I will literally beat your ass. I'm not playing with you. Like, this may be live TV, but I'll beat your ass.
But yeah, they were talking a lot of crap to him. Got under his skin, and then the NBA Turkey account on Twitter was letting him have it too.
Oh god.
But they don't like him in Turkey.
I wouldn't. Why would you?
Well, the Turkish government I guess is in charge now.
Charles Barkley?
Yeah, he's wanted in Turkey. Like he's in Turkey.
What, for jail? What just for being him?
Yeah,
no, they want him in Turkey.
No, I'm serious. He's a terrorist over there, like in the eyes of the government.
I don't know what you're talking about.
A terrorist?
Yes.
So if he goes over there, he'll get killed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
will
hope he
jail
doesn't.
Charles Barkley, if you're listening, don't go to Turkey.
No, I'm not Charles Barkley.
I didn't even know who you were talking
I'm
about this
talking
whole time.
about Enes Kanter.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Charles Barkley.
I thought you were talking. Yeah, you did not. We'll go back and listen to this. You were not talking about.
I was talking about.
All right, we're moving on.
I brought it up.
You can show us. This after the podcast. The last series of the NBA, Golden State and Houston. What do you guys think about that series so far?
This is what I think. Golden State in 4.
In 4, you think they're going to win both games?
Golden State in 4. That's all I got.
I think it's 5.
I think Houston gets 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think
it's 5. I think it's 5. I think the fact that it's 2-0 now and they didn't split, it makes a difference. And I think there's a lot of distractions. You know, Scott Foster was reffing the game, who hasn't reffed a Rockets game since I don't know how long. And the Lakers, it was the same. Not many guys like Scott Foster because you can't talk to him. He's just he's the type of guy that gives you a tee right on sight. Like there's no talking to that guy. You can't reason with him at all.
I feel like refs like that are the worst, just because there's an extent where you can talk to them and like try and understand exactly what they're looking at, so you can kind of play within their game too, and know the boundaries. But if they don't even want to talk to you, it's kind of crappy.
Yeah, exactly. And you're always supposed to be respectful to the refs and of their. I mean, they're human, but I think at the end of the day, you should be able to talk to them and try to figure out what's going on in their head, so that way you can kind of emulate what they're trying to get out of the game and trying to control the game and monitor it.
No, I definitely agree. Though there's a lot of distractions. All of this stuff going on about fouls and all.
Yeah.
How about James Harden's eye?
No.
Did you see that?
And Steph Curry's finger.
Oh.
Yeah, facing the opposite direction. There was like some stairs. Like,
hey, how about that?
It looks good.
Looks like my finger, dude.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, you didn't know?
It's nasty.
Dude, we've been pals for years, and you didn't know that?
Pals? Dude. Screw off.
Yeah, we're definitely.
I quit.
We're muting all of you.
I quit.
All right, that's it for the NBA in terms of the playoffs. We got some
Playoffs?
Playoffs.
All right. Playoffs.
Before we get into a more serious topic, one of our guys, D'Angelo Russell, he was cited, I think, at an airport.
Good timing.
Here we go, E.
All right, guys.
This is going to be good because he's laughing about it already.
What's the least spoken language on Earth?
I don't know.
Wait.
Sign language?
What did you say?
I said sign language. I don't know.
Oh. He's right. Sign language.
It is sign language. Not bad, not bad.
Come
not
on.
bad.
Why
was
was
I
I
right,
right though?
Because you can't speak sign language, dude.
Yeah.
You didn't even know the reason
It's
that
your
you got it
hands, bro.
like this, dude. Wait, so you got that right and you didn't even know why you got it.
I just
So
saw
what's
the
the
sign
score?
language.
8-3.
No, we have 4 now. I have
Yeah, we
2.
have
He has 2.
No, you have 1 and he has 2.
Oh, maybe he's right.
It's 8-3.
It's 8-5.
God, you guys are stupid.
5?
Let's talk about D'Angelo Russell.
Okay, D'Angelo Russell was sighted, I think, at an airport. I'm not too sure. I didn't get a great look at him. But yesterday he was sighted with marijuana hidden in something that was made to look like an Arizona tea bottle or cup, and basically he's now been sighted with marijuana. Does that shock you guys?
No, one. And also doesn't shock me how he tried to.
No, yeah. We know. I know D'Angelo on a personal level to where I could actually talk to him. Sick brag here. My dad was on the staff. Yeah. No. But basically, the dude's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he's super cool. He's a great guy. But he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, and he. I would never put anything like this past him because I know he's still super young. People don't understand about these athletes in the NBA and the NFL and MLB. These guys are young. They're 20 and 22 years old. They're our age, basically. D'Angelo, I think, is 22, if not 21.
I don't get it. Did he have the Arizona tea bag just holding it?
No, I think it was in his backpack, and he's probably gone through the airport with it multiple times. So I guess he just finally got caught, probably because he was profiled for being African American and being D'Angelo Russell. But
D'Lo, you're canceled, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully he figures it out. But coming off that great year, he's probably about to get a big time contract. Not smart. I don't know. I feel like if it was something more serious, it would have been a bigger deal because there was only just one tweet about it.
Honestly, I didn't even
exactly.
About it.
But yeah, that we'll keep you guys updated on that. A little bit more, I guess, heavy stuff is president or general manager of the Boston Celtics, Danny Ainge, suffered a mild heart attack in Milwaukee on Tuesday. Just got out, I think, today or this morning or last night. Expected to make a full recovery, but still, that's pretty sad, and it probably definitely hits home, and it's definitely going to have a lasting effect on the Celtics in their series. Obviously, they want to win games, but this is something that's bigger than basketball for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely, takes your mind off of basketball
yeah.
a bit.
And they've had some misfortunes, and they've had some unfortunate things happen to them around playoff time with China Thomas, Isaiah Thomas's sister dying, and it just
that was 2 years ago today.
Yeah, it's 2 years. Oh yeah, or yesterday. 2 years ago yesterday. And he scored 53 points, I think. 52 for him for her. So yeah, basically they're not lucky with this stuff, and hopefully he's all good. I know him personally. Another sick brag, but hopefully he makes it all good and he can get back to work. So is that wrap it up for NBA?
Top 5 players in each series. Are we doing that?
You guys want to do it?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Ethan, let's get your top 5 players in each series from the Toronto Philly series. So you're not doing top 5 players from each team, each series, just as a whole.
From just that series alone.
Yeah.
I definitely think.
It can, and just give your top 5. It doesn't have to be 1 through 5.
Okay.
Or it could be. It doesn't matter.
Kawhi, Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Pascal, and I want to say Ben Simmons, but I might as well just say Ben Simmons.
Okay, you're just dumb. T, go ahead.
I'll go with Kawhi Leonard, probably Joel Embiid, definitely Pascal's 3rd. I would go Jimmy Butler's 4.
How he tripped Embiid?
I was going, I was going
Kawhi, Joel, Jimmy.
I feel like that's
Jimmy, Kawhi, Joel, Jimmy, Pascal, and Ben Simmons. That's my 5. What about you, Bryce?
Well, that's the exact same as.
I feel like there's only so many guys you can.
Let's just do one per. One of us do one series.
Okay, that was Ethan's, right? Okay, Bryce, you got the Golden State one.
Steph Curry.
Okay.
Steph Curry.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The Curry of Steph.
Dude, let me hear your real one.
Stephen Curry. No,
Okay.
this is my real one.
Okay.
Stephen Curry. Is that 4?
Yeah, that's 4.
This stuff. Stephen Wardell Curry.
Okay. That's still wrong. It's Wardell Curry.
Wardell. That's what I said.
If you said Stephen Wardell, you said his first name second.
Stephen Wardell.
No, it's Wardell Stephen
Yeah,
Curry.
but it's Stephen Wardell.
That's just still wrong. All right,
Stephen
that's
Wardell.
all right, that was a waste of time.
So is there a dash in there when you say it?
Yeah,
War dash.
All right, I'll do the Boston-Milwaukee series. I think the best player in the Milwaukee series is. Are we doing right now, or are we doing like in terms of the series, or are we just doing it in general?
Well, I don't know. You were the one that started it.
That's
Yellow
true.
swag.
Yellow swag. Only live once. Players puke.
Come on, fool, spit it out.
Is my fan full? My bad full? Giannis, Kyrie, Middleton. Bledsoe, and I'll go with Jason Tatum. I think that's a good one.
I would go with Horford.
Not
First
really.
four are good, and then Horford.
So you would not have Jason Tatum in there?
I don't know. That's tough. Horford had a big game one though.
I'm talking about right now, dude. That's why I asked you guys.
I don't know, man. Come on, bro.
He's not even.
You
Get
got Trailblazers, Nuggets, but I got one of them. I get to pick one player. So
We already know who it is.
We already know.
Okay, but don't say it, dude. You're ruining it
All
for
right,
the viewers.
give us 4 players.
Sure.
Give us 4 players.
McCollum.
That's your best player in the series?
No, I'm just like. We're not putting them in order. Are they supposed to be in order?
I don't know, dude. Yellow swag.
God, dude, I hate you guys.
Just go, McCollum.
McCollum, Dame, Jamal, and Jokic.
Okay. Thank God.
I was working up to
Well,
that.
Okay, the last one is
above
who?
all of those 4, Seth Curry.
Seth Curry, his
Oh
brother,
my
his
God.
awful brother.
Yep.
All right, that's it. We're done. I'm done. I'm done.
His awful
Go.
brothers in the NBA.
All right, yeah. All right, we're moving on to the MLB. Ethan, give us a rundown on that.
I'm saying nothing about any of this.
All right, so we'll
Yeah,
just,
Ethan, this is your hour.
yeah, we'll just give you guys a brief look at the standings and everything. In the American League East, Tampa Bay's up with 20 wins. One of the only teams with 20 wins in the league. Bryce's Yankees are in second place.
Not my Yankees, dude.
I don't know,
How
man.
my Cubbies doing?
Cubbies are in second place in the NL Central. They picked it up. They started the year 3-13
There you go.
or something like that. It was bad, 3-10. But I know a lot of this is expected. And the big surprise is the Twins in the American League Central being up on top.
That was quick, dude.
Yeah.
You were quick on that one.
Yeah, I got a bunch of jokes for you guys today.
Hit us with it, and I'll hit you with something.
What kind of shoes does a thief wear?
Dude, think, because you're good at this.
Oh no. Okay, thief shoes.
Some Nikes, fool.
Sneakers?
Sneakers.
Really?
No! Sneakers.
Let's go!
Fill me with some
Because they're sneaking around while they're thieving.
Yeah.
So 8-4. 8-4?
Come on! I've gotten
84.
3 straight.
Bro, quit throwing freaking cheese at me.
Yeah, Bryce is over throwing cheese.
My bad, you still got some in your
Alright, alright.
Dang it, bro.
Still go with MLB.
Yeah, but one thing that we can definitely get into, I think, is a pretty big deal, is attendance is down in the MLB,
I'm not surprised.
and
I'm not. Here's the thing. I love going to baseball games. Baseball games are by far more fun than a lot of other sports. I would prefer to go to a baseball game than a normal NFL
baseball games have the best atmosphere.
This podcast
I
is
personally
ridiculous.
I think that they have. Oh my god! For those of you that want to know what's going on, Bryce.
Stop!
No. You're doing this. You're the reason. You're the reason. Bryce has 2 pieces of cheese on his
nipples.
Dude, my shirt is on.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
I have pictures.
Yes.
No, you.
Okay.
I
No,
want that
see,
you post those.
I don't think that attendance is down because baseball is such a long game, the whole 9 innings thing. I think a lot of teams, because I looked at it, and there's 12 out of the 30 teams in the MLB, their attendance dropped pretty significantly. And that's because those 12 teams have 0 stars on the team. They have they have so many young guys, no big names. They're just tanking.
It just makes me sad.
It just makes you sad. Is that why you're crying?
Yeah.
Or are you licking your eyes so you have tears?
You cried in Avengers.
I did cry at Avengers. You know what? It's about that time.
Iron Man's dead.
It's about that time where I'm just going to spit it out.
Spit it out.
Iron Man dies, and that is the best death that they could have had. and the way Captain America
Dude,
went out.
what are you doing?
Spoiler, dude.
What the hell?
People have had a week,
I
bro.
signed a contract.
It's been a week.
No, I'm gonna talk to whatever they're called.
The Russo brother? No. It has. I don't think it has anything really to do with the length of the game. I mean, you look at the people that are there at the games. They have. I mean, they're there for most of it. I mean, I saw pictures of the. It was like the Royals and the Mariners game the other day, and it was a cloudy day, nice day for baseball, and there was maybe like 10,000 people there. So I mean that attendance is terrible. But
What's the best attendance? Like, who has the best?
The best attendance? I don't know.
The Orioles?
Definitely.
The Oreos?
Definitely not.
Probably what? The Yankees probably get good ones?
Yankees get good attendance. I mean, they're a better team. Houston Astros, you'll always get really good attendance. The Phillies' attendance has gone up just because they have more stars on their roster. JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Andrew McCutchen. I mean, the Dodgers always have good attendance.
It'll get better by the summer in October, probably.
Yeah, but what breaks my heart is that the Blue Jays are the ones that have had the most significant drop in attendance, and that's all because they're selling their stars to people, and it's sad, man. But they should change, especially with Vlad Guerrero.
It's very, very sad.
You guys don't even care. You guys hate baseball.
I do.
Hate it, dude.
I don't.
I don't hate it. I'll go watch it in person. I won't watch it on TV.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Unless it's
playoffs.
playoffs.
I won't watch playoffs either, and I've made that known. And we'll talk about it whenever we get Tony Randazzo on the podcast. I'm not a big baseball guy, so a lot of the stuff that he will say on the pod will be complete and utter news to me. Yeah. So is that all you got for baseball?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right.
If you guys want to watch a good series coming up with Tony behind the plate, I think he's off to Miami.
Yeah, he's off to Miami.
That's what I saw online. He's going to be in Miami.
He also told us.
That you can just check.
Yeah, you can check their schedules, Bryce.
Yeah.
Dude, he told us, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
He didn't tell
We
anyone
have a
else.
new segment for you guys. It's called Hot Take Hour. We're just going to give you guys one hot take and then discuss it. So,
Dude, for Ethan, I'm terrified of what he...
Bryce, you're going to go first.
Why?
So what's your hot take?
Okay, well, I was reading today, Charles Barkley says that no girl can beat him in a sport.
So what's your hot take?
My hot take is that
It's not true?
girls can beat guys in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm saying Charles Barkley, bad take. My hot take is that except I don't know. When I think really deep into it, ain't no girl beat me at no basketball. Candace Parker, what's up?
That's not even the best player in the league.
I know. Brandon Stewart's the best WNBA player.
Yeah, but I could lock Brandon Stewart up.
Dude, no.
Candace Parker's dunking on me.
Dude, no. Dude,
They're both dunking
You're
on
providing
NFL?
awful information for your argument.
Football? There's no girl beating me in football. Baseball? Probably. Hockey?
Dude, are you just saying that no one's gonna beat you? Then you're just supporting.
No, I'm saying, I just said that they could beat me in baseball.
Okay.
Hockey? Think a girl could beat me in hockey?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Why is this you? This is just a hot take for you?
Yeah.
This guy's chewing on his computer. He hates this.
Yeah, this
This
is
is an
awful.
awful take.
Well, dude, when you said we're doing a hot take hour, you gave no explanation as
Yeah,
to
It's a normal hot take. I said any sport,
Yeah,
think of a hot take. Okay, there you go. His hot take is that girls can beat guys in sports.
My hot take was that Charles Barkley said that.
Then that's a bad... Okay, yeah, okay. Ethan, what's yours?
I think that Josh Rosen will have a better career than Kyler Murray.
Now, see, that's a good hot take.
Dude, Charles Barkley.
You were
Charles Barkley is an idiot.
You've been talking about what's been talked about since the dawn of man. If girls are superior,
No, I'm talking about Charles Barkley said it like yesterday on TNT.
and then you started discussing if they could beat you at it, and then you're, ain't no girl beat me, ain't no basketball.
Ain't no girl beat me in no
Yeah,
basketball.
I definitely think that Josh Rosen is the prototypical NFL quarterback. I mean,
What, white and 6'3", and
yeah, White, 6'3", has a good arm.
which is ridiculous. I hope Kyler Murray's better than Josh Rosen.
No, I hope so too.
That dude's shorter than all of us.
No, I know. But I just feel like Kyler Murray's skill set has not... I mean, not a whole lot of people have transitioned well into the NFL that are.
Dude, what is your hot take?
Dude, I don't know. You guys want to hear it?
Give it to us.
Okay. My hot take is that Noah Wooten and James Washington are definitely going to overtake the 1 and 2 spots from Matt Guy and Sean Anderson. They've been throwing really good bags lately, and I don't know. They've been hitting
cornhole.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So so they've been. I don't know. It's a tough take for sure, but I don't know. Kyle Malone's good too. He's got 2,284 points. I don't know. I think Matt Guy his bags have been off the plate a little bit. So
Dude, you're reading off of your phone like Amada and Ashley were the other time.
no, I'm not. I'm reading messages right now. I'm talking to Eli.
Who?
Eli Trevor.
Oh, he knows that. What?
Yeah, this is what we've been talking about lately. But I don't know. Sean Anderson, he's number 2 right now, but I don't think he's gonna end up at 2 or 1 in the rankings. I think Cody Henderson and James Washington or Noah Wooten all have better shots. So what do you guys think about that?
Ethan, you can go ahead and comment because I am not.
Are you? So you're talking doubles, right?
No singles.
Singles? I don't know, man.
Just look at the rankings. I mean, they're all close.
I don't know. I'm a big guy of Jason Rubin just because I feel like
He had a
You
good
probably
weekend.
said that name wrong.
He had a good.
You know what, man? Or Trey Birchfield.
It's definitely Ruben.
Yeah, you know it happens, man.
Robin?
Jason Ruben pants.
Yeah, but I think you look at the points. I mean, everybody's well within 100 points of Matt Guy. You know,
That guy's a G. I mean, he's obviously a G, but he didn't have a good weekend. He was off the bag and he was off the plate a lot, and his bags were spinning a little bit, especially around the hole. His placements were off. I don't know.
Dude, you're just being so fake right now.
No, his placements were off for sure.
Shut up!
Dude, it was on ESPN.
Yeah, as long as you can live within 6 inches of the hole, and you can just
That's what they say.
as long as you can
His elbow is really good right now. He had a little bit of trouble with that, especially I think last week. All right, we'll get back to it.
we'll get back into cornhole.
Let's see if I can go 3 for 3 today.
What did Baby Corn say to Mama Corn?
Karn.
Sounds busy.
Wait, what'd you say?
What did Baby Corn say to Mama Corn?
Do you know this?
What did baby corn say to mama corn?
Yep.
He's Googling it. Bryce is Googling it. He got on his computer instantly. Hold up. No. What?
No, wait.
Dude, what would this be?
Where's popcorn?
Oh, I never got that one.
I refuse to laugh at any of those.
Oh, I never got one. Alright, so, like I said, we'll see what Sean Henderson does. He had a really good weekend. Like I said, his bag placement was really good, all within 2 inches. I think that's what the what Bag FX had to say, especially on the
Bag FX.
It's like Pitch FX, except it's for bags for your. And he was going he was on the slick side. He was definitely hitting slick slide for I think it was 74% of his throws.
Yeah,
so
we'll see what really goes down whenever they go to Arizona, May 17th and through the 19th.
yeah, I'm excited for that. I know they're
national event number 3.
Yeah, because they had national event number 2. The second one was this past weekend, and the doubles was actually really good too. You know, they have community colleges in there, and
This is just dumb.
but we'll see.
I mean,
Obviously,
it's on
figure that out.
ESPN, so you know, guys, tune in Saturday, May
This is
8th.
dumb. You're trying not to laugh. This
No,
is
I'm not.
dumb.
I'm totally. I mean, dead serious. I watched the whole thing.
Why are you trying not to laugh at me?
Okay,
I'm not.
no, this dude was watching cornhole.
Yes, I know. But there's no way he knows all these terms about the bags, the table being slick, and the bags.
No, it's
rotating.
slick. No, bags have a slick side and a
I know.
and a rugged side and a more of a rugged side. So it's all about placement, and their placement, especially Sean Henderson's, his was way more on the slick side, which is definitely unconventional. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it really.
He's gotta change the game.
It's weird if he's playing like that because you're setting yourself up to where you're sliding around. You know,
I feel the slick side is definitely more for trying to knock bags off.
Yeah, if you
but
start-
he's doing it for his approaches.
Yeah, because they stack a lot. So if you're stacking with a slick side on the bottom, I mean,
And he's covering the hole really good on the front side of the hole. He's definitely blocking his opponents really well. I think when he went up against, it might have been Ruben, honestly. He went up against. No, it's definitely not Ruben.
it's definitely Ruben. I just said
Yeah, it's Josh Ruben.
You want to talk Ethan? You want to talk like you know cornhole? Let's talk about that cornhole tournament that me and Noah won.
My partner was Zane.
$200.
I don't think I
My
played him.
partner was Zane.
I don't care.
I think I was Jesse's partner. I can't remember who was partnering. No, I can't remember.
You didn't play.
Was it? Oh no, I was out. Where was this at?
This was at Ethan's.
Oh no, mine was at. Oh, the one I played at was at Noah's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you guys won.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me.
How was your placement?
Oh,
He throws a good bag.
Yeah, his bag. I'd say he probably tosses about a 30-degree,
What?
and then
Your angle's 30. That's pretty good. Most
Yeah.
people play like 40 to
All
50.
I know is I put it in the hole.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do, but then
Yeah.
again, it's also for placement. Block in the other hole. And
Put it in the hole.
Exactly. If you can get 2 in and stack 2 in front for a little protection, that's how you rack up those points.
Yep. All right, that wraps it up. Except for one thing, Bryce lost again in our They Got Next segment in terms of UFC or MMA fighting with the toughest NBA players in the league. So Bryce, you're going to get your wet willies, and you're also going to give us your embarrassing story. So what's your embarrassing story? Go.
Am I getting my wet willies?
Yeah, and you know what? We'll record it this time. And
Whoa,
we'll
I
put-
don't got a shirt on.
Yeah, you also got cheese on your nipples.
No, I don't.
Hurry up and tell your
Are
story.
we doing my willies or no?
Yeah, we'll do the wet willies after the story.
Why does that have to be after?
Hurry up and tell the story.
Alright, well, first of all, everyone that voted, that was just dumb. Okay, T won, but Ethan should have lost this game.
Appreciate y'all going, voting for
You guys found
LBJ.
Ethan's trap.
Yeah, losers.
Appreciate you guys.
Losers. You're telling me that LeBron James would do anything to Zach Randolph? No. Because where Zach Randolph's from, bullies get bullied.
Yeah, did that work out for you?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, you lost.
Okay,
I won that by a landslide.
on Sunday, I was working at Andale's Doghouse. If for those of you that don't know, I work at Andale's Doghouse. I'm a server, so if you ever want some enchiladas, I'm not going to hook it up.
Bryce has been keen to give out free enchiladas.
Dude, that's-
Actually, enchiladas for life.
yeah.
Dude, that's,
Enchiladas for life.
dude,
He
that's a
also
different
ends up
story.
in swimming pools.
Hey,
so
dude.
I don't know about
Hey,
that.
we don't need to get into all that.
All right, tell your story.
I'm trying to, but I'm being rudely interrupted. Okay, I work at Andale's Doghouse. I was serving this past Sunday night, and one of the servers got cut, and she wanted to give me her table. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll take it so you can go home. But she tells me that the table is deaf. So immediately I'm like, all right, well, I've had deaf tables before, and what works best for them is to go and write down on the paper, because I don't know sign language. And I don't...
So it's the least spoken language
Yeah.
ever.
No, it's the least
I
spoken
don't
language.
blame you for not knowing.
Yeah. So I go and write on a piece of paper, hello, my name is Bryce. I'm going to be taking care of y'all from here on out. And I was like, all right, then this is going to be fine. I walk up to the table and hand him the paper, and he looks at me real weird, but doesn't say anything. And mind you, he has an earpiece in, so I think like he has trouble hearing, but he's definitely not deaf.
Those are called hearing aids.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for rubbing.
Just chatting.
And he looks at me real weird, and I walk off, and I kind of look back, and he looks at his wife and kind of holds the paper up and like throws his hands around like all mad. So I go back in like 2 minutes, and the guy, I was like, I give him the thumbs up because they can't hear what I'm thinking. They can't hear, so they can see. They see my thumbs up, and the guy looks at me and goes, "I can hear. I'm not deaf." And I was like, "Yeah, oh, okay, sorry." And I walked off because I didn't know what to say. But yeah.
You look stupid.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to I'm not gonna say her name, but the other server that made me take that table and told me they were deaf.
That's some rough stuff, man.
Well, I think that wraps up podcast. Was that number 8?
We still got that interview coming up.
Yeah, I mean in terms of our stuff, that's what I'm saying. But we do, like Ethan said, have a great interview with
Oh, I love that interview.
who we got, E?
MLB umpire, 20-year vet, Mr. Tony Randazzo. He did the 2016 World Series with the Cubs when they broke that 108-year drought. Yeah,
He's made his rounds.
Yeah, he's been around, man.
Yeah.
The guy's division title or division series, championship series, World Series, All-Star games. Interesting stuff, man, coming up.
All right.
Let's be.
All right, guys, we are back. Time for an interview with veteran MLB umpire, Mr. Tony Randazzo. Thank you for coming on and talking to us today.
Thank you for having me, guys. I
Yeah, we appreciate you being here. This is awesome. We've kind of been on a basketball train for a while. We've had a lot of basketball guests, but kind of venturing into not only just baseball, but
I mean, an umpire, which is in the Major League Baseball, that's awesome for us. So we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
So we'll start off with your college playing career. We know that you grew up in the Chicago area. You played your college ball at Iowa Western. And you had an injury that forced you to stop. But can you tell us a little about that? About growing up in Chicago and playing ball at Iowa Western, and if that had any impact on you wanting to umpire?
Yeah, sure. I think as any kid that plays baseball, I grew up. I thought I was going to be a Major League Baseball
Exactly.
player,
Yeah. There's not very many that are just like, no, I can't wait to get home.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was kind of on the right track, and I was actually better at football. And I had like 11 or 12 football scholarships. And then going into my senior year, my dad says, "Don't play football. You're going to get hurt. Just concentrate on baseball." So I did that.
You were a catcher?
Catcher, yeah.
Okay.
And then I got a scholarship offer to University of Illinois.
Okay.
And I took, I don't know, I think here they don't do the ACT, they do the SAT or whatever. What's
It's
it?
like,
the ACT
it depends.
Okay.
It just depends on the university or the area,
Okay.
geographical location.
Well, whatever test I took, I didn't get good. I think Illinois wanted a 27 to get in there.
Yep.
And I was nowhere near
That's
that. I'm
tough.
going to be honest with you guys.
27, that's not easy.
Yeah, no, that's I'll sit there.
So the head coach says, go to Iowa Western. It's a feeder school of ours. You play there for a year, you get your grades up, and then we'll bring you on.
Okay.
And I agreed to it, and it was a small little town, great people, but just a tiny, tiny little town.
What town was it?
It was Clarinda, Iowa.
Okay.
And I bet you it was, back then, this is 84, probably about 2,000 people. So it was a big shock coming from where I was to go to there.
Because you're from Chicago.
Chicago,
right?
yeah. So it was weird, but it was good, and we had a good bunch of guys, and then we were playing in the fall, and it was fall practice, and I just got out of class, and a couple scouts from Oakland, the Dodgers, and I think Cleveland were there, and we didn't know it. Okay. So they called us and they said, "Come down like a dummy." I didn't warm up.
So you just walked
I threw like 4 or 5 balls, and I went to throw.
You don't need to stretch.
Yeah, I don't need to stretch out. I'm a young kid,
all
right?
these MLB scouts just watching it throw.
So I screwed up my labrum, and that was the end of it.
So
Man.
That kind of goes into how I went to umpire school, which is a weird story in itself. Should I go into that now?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
of course.
So I came home and I was depressed. All right, so I think it was like a month or whatever. And my dad's like, "All right, you're getting a job." So he gets me a job, and I was going to a junior college, and it was like a Saturday or something. It was end of November, and it was freezing cold. And we're sitting having dinner, and he goes, "Hey, why don't you go to umpire school?" And I looked at him, I go, "Dad, why would I want to go to umpire school?"
It's like, why do I want to be hated?
Yeah, I'm like, I know, you're right.
The rest of my career is going to be surrounded just by
People
hatred.
just bully me all the time,
No one's going to like that.
Right. So, I go, "No, I'm not doing that." He goes, "No, you can make some money, on a Saturday or Sunday since you can't play, you can't throw anymore." So I said, "No." So I went upstairs, and my window, I had a big picture window. It starts snowing. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking outside, and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is miserable." So I went back down, and I said, "When is this umpire school?" He goes, "It's in January." I said, "Where's that?" He goes, "Florida."
Okay.
And I said, "You know what? Who's paying for it?" He goes, "I'll pay for it."
So it's
he
called
ended up
Harry. Is that what it's called?
Harry Wendelsted's, yeah.
So is that like that's what that segues into our next question? Is like, what is that like? Is it 24/7 just umpiring? Is that what it, or is that how you try to become the best of the best in terms of umpiring? Is it just nonstop?
Yeah, it is. You know what? It's like it's about two. Well, back then it was almost 2.5 months long, and your day would start at 6 a.m. and you'd get off the field at probably like 5:30. You eat dinner, and then you would be studying rules until like 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. So there was, I mean, it was competitive. And when I went down there, I had never umpired before. I never.
It was a blank canvas.
It was a blank canvas, and there's guys down there that have been doing college ball and trying to get a job in the minor leagues, and I didn't even know that when I went down there. So a funny story is, I was actually hitting more than I was doing the umpiring, because they had like simulated games, and they would say, "Okay, somebody bat and field a ground ball, run the first," and then they call the guys were calling the plays. So I was doing so much. I was in a Walgreens, and a major league umpire was in there, and he goes, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" He goes, "Why are you down here?" And I said,
"What are you doing here?"
"I don't know." I said, "The weather's great and everything." And I said, "I'm from Chicago." And he's like, "I think you got a chance to be an umpire." He goes, "But you're playing every day. We can't even evaluate you." He goes, "So go buy a pair of gray slacks," he said, at Sears, and a blue shirt, and tomorrow start trying to umpire. So I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I had another question. So you obviously went the JUCO route.
Yeah.
And it's different for baseball a lot because nowadays I don't know how it was back then. I'm not a huge baseball guy in terms of the upbringing, but MLB scouts look at JUCO, if not almost the same amount, if not more than Division I, because you have to go 3 years of Division I believe, and you're around it so much. What do you think that JUCO baseball is in terms of professional baseball? Like, is it just as good as Division I? Because a lot of guys don't want to go straight to Division I because they have to play for 3 years. So, what do you think that? What is your stance on that?
I think right now it's a lot better than what it used to be.
Okay.
I think you're getting a lot more kids that aren't getting scholarship offers because of grades or whatever, and they're going the JUCO route. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Albert Pujols went to a junior college, if I'm not mistaken. So, and people, a lot of kids are coming from Dominican, Puerto Rico, Venezuela.
So it's different routes, yeah.
It's different routes, and I think the scouts are looking at junior colleges more now than they had in the past.
Yeah, it's different for sure because in basketball, I mean, you go to JUCO to leave. I mean, it's in the same realm of baseball. You obviously don't want to stay in JUCO, but it's just completely different because
it's a stepping stone.
No NBA scouts are going to JUCOs, and, and MLB scouts are going to JUCO games, JUCO practices all the time, and it's just crazy. It's interesting.
Even Kirby Puckett, he's a Hall of Famer. He went to a junior college, kind of like 2 miles from
you don't see that. Yeah, you don't see that in any other sport, really.
Yeah,
that's cool. So you obviously you ended up at umpire. You went into umpiring school, and then you ended up. So describe the path as an umpire. Like after you finished, where did that end up?
Okay, like umpire school at the time you mentioned Harry Wendell said there was two back then. There was one called Joe Brinkman's, and I think out of both schools there was like 600 guys. Well, each school sent like 15 each, so there was 30 of you that went to an advanced camp, and they picked. I think back then it was 15 or 14 that ended up getting a job, and that means that you go to rookie ball. You start off like a player, you go to rookie ball. They have baseball umpire scouts that come out and they evaluate you as an umpire, and then they move you up the ladder, just like a player gets moved up.
So it's the same. It's kind of the same.
Same thing, yeah. It's almost the exact same thing. And then the goal in the minor leagues is getting to AAA. That's because the big league supervisors don't come see you until you're in AAA.
Oh, okay.
So you want to get to AAA. That's like your goal as an umpire.
Okay.
Like as a player, they want to get to the big leagues.
Yeah.
We just want to get seen by a major league evaluator.
Okay, that's really cool, honestly.
And I spent 11 years in the minor leagues.
Huh. Yeah,
it's not a good. It's a even now. I think I was making $15 a day for food. I mean, it was brutal, and like we relied on that. Like after the game, they'd bring you in 2 hot dogs each, and that was like we were like so excited because we were getting fed. So it's kind of like going to college, where you don't have a lot of money and you're just trying to make ends meet any way you can.
Exactly. A lot of the players, it's like that for the players too that are playing the rookie ball low way high. They don't get paid anything. I mean, you have like guys that get drafted early on that are real young out of high school. They go into low A and high A. Those guys are getting paid just because they receive big contracts for being early picks. But I mean, umpires. I mean, you guys are starting to work your way up. It's not. It's crazy.
No, it's crazy.
Like the journey is way uglier than the destination. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
Like people, the difference between AAA and MLB is probably it's insane. It's
insane.
Yeah,
but AAA to AA and A ball is insane because at least in AAA they would fly us everywhere.
Oh, okay.
I remember driving. I would drive. I worked in a Texas league, and I drove from El Paso to Little Rock, Arkansas.
That's like
I think 15 hours.
Yeah, it's like
and we had a game that day, and it was like, I mean, it was not fun.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, it was bad.
So we've got you down here umpiring 7 division series, 2 championship series, 2 All-Stars, and the 2016 World Series. I remember Ashley was telling me how excited she was to get out there because I knew she got.
That was crazy. I mean, we saw it on your Snapchat.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was a cool experience because the only MLB game I've ever been to was a Cubs game because I used to live in Chicago. I used to live in Northbrook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because when my dad was with the Bulls, so I only went to Cubs games, and they were awful back then. Like 07.
There was no one there, right?
No one there. I sat about as close as you could get.
Yeah.
And so it was that was cool, and for you to be a part of that World Series is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. And so, like, obviously for players, there's a difference between the regular season and the playoffs.
Yeah.
How about umpiring? Do you feel something different when it's a regular season game in May, and then you go to October? Is there a difference kind of for yourself?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like a total different realm. It's
cool.
It's there's so much you could feel like Ashley can tell you, just going to the ballpark when we were driving from the hotel, just going like pulling up, you could feel the energy in the air.
Yeah.
And as a competitor or anything,
Yeah.
I mean that gets into your blood. You know, I mean you want to go out there and say, you know what, I'm here for a reason, and hopefully they pick me for the right reason, and I'm going to go out and do the best job I can. But it's a totally different ballgame.
Okay, so then talking about playoffs, what was umpiring the World Series like, especially the one you were a part of? Because that one...
I mean, it was the first one in, what was it, 100 years?
108 years.
Yeah, so I mean, talk about that. I mean, I don't know if you can, but was it amplified in terms of that specific series?
Yes, it was, and I think because the Cubs not being there so long, so it was crazy about that. But two is that growing up there, I used to sneak into that ballpark when I was a kid, and when I walked out in the field for the first game we were in Chicago, and I looked up in that spot where I used to sit in the bleachers, I was like, oh my God,
so that's awesome.
I cannot believe this. So to me, it was like a dream come true.
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
And, I mean, it's everybody's dream to get to the big game, to get that ring or whatever. And I mean, for the guys that don't get to do it, players or whatever, I feel bad because, I mean, that is something you want to go through as a professional. So it was pretty cool.
Is there so players get rings for getting to the World Series, for winning the World Series, or they get banners for winning their division? And is there something for referees, or is it more just like on the back, like you have it like a notch on your back whenever you get there? So
we get rings also.
Okay, so for being a part of it,
being a part,
obviously you're rewarded
right.
as being one of the better umpires or one of the best to be a part of the World Series. So I was just curious if that was something that you guys got to experience as well. That's cool.
So. We'll segue into another topic, one that I personally like saying, just because I think it's kind of funny. Seeing guys, especially because one of my favorite players is Bryce Harper, and I feel like he has a horrible temper and he treats umpires very, very poorly. But whenever you're in the moment and a player starts mouthing off or you see something happen, what's going through your head at that moment whenever you're like thinking, hey, this is escalating, maybe I have to send this guy out of here?
Well, you know what? You can talk to any umpire. I don't care if it's even college or high school. Nobody wants to throw anybody out of the game.
Yeah.
We get that. The people are coming to pay to see these players. We get it.
Absolutely.
But there comes a point when they just cross the line, and with us, that is like something personal. They have to say something personal to us, or they're just going on and on and on, and you've warned them 2 or 3 times, like, okay, you've had enough now. I got what you're saying. But we got to get this going, and they don't want to leave. But mostly it's personal. They'll say something personal.
So that's what usually ticks it off. It's not because of the temper. It's usually something that is okay.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
80% of it's they're saying something to you personal.
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen several games where you've been on TV, and personally, I enjoy watching whenever you're behind the plate.
Oh, thank you.
Just because I feel like you're the most consistent umpire in the MLB.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
strike
that.
zone is great every time. There are specific umpires that if they are behind the plate or on the field, I will not watch the game. And I will not. I cannot stand them. And I just think that it's so cool hearing what you think of whenever you're getting ready to throw a player out. Just if he's crossing the line or if he has if he's crossed that boundary where you don't want to hear anything else from
just
him.
tired of it.
I think I went 2 years without throwing someone out, and you know what? A lot of it just comes in clumps. You know what I mean? You can go 2 years and not have one, and then you're going to have a year where you're going to have 6 or 7. It's just how it falls sometimes.
And it seems like a lot of the time it's the guys that are causing issues and being a little mouthy. Are the guys that are in a slump and or something's going on.
Like a manager, I think a lot of times the manager wants to do it to fire the team up.
Yeah.
And now, see, in years past, I know we're going to talk about replay too, but see, they can't argue plays on the bases anymore because they do sometimes, and get ejected, but most of the time it's sent up to replay and it's changed. So they really can't come out there and personally argue with you. So now most of your stuff comes from balls and strikes. That's where most of your arguments come, or fights or things like that.
So obviously, I think I'm not too sure, but I've known you as being behind the plate. Is that I'm not too sure. Do you is that where you mainly are in terms of umpiring? Are you behind the plate, or do they move you guys around? Or what's your favorite spot on the field's umpire?
We rotate clockwise.
Okay.
So we'll have home plate, then we go to third, second.
Is it
first.
by game or by
By game.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
by game. So like Monday you work the home plate, Tuesday you'll be at third base, Wednesday at second, Thursday at first, and then that just keeps going from there.
What's your favorite?
I like working the plate because I think you're involved in the game more.
You're kind of controlling it.
Yeah,
you kind of
and you're
monitor
kind
it.
of in a zone, and
Okay.
you're thinking about that for 3 hours, and to me it's better.
I feel like you have better
Seems
interaction,
like it, too.
'cause,
Yeah.
I mean, you're calling pitches,
Yeah.
balls and strikes for some of the best athletes in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like
Yeah.
you're sitting there, you see like a fastball from Aroldis Chapman, or you see a slider from Andrew Miller, and like that's just so cool to think about that.
And what's funny too, guys, is that I get it. I was a fan. I get it. But people don't realize how much that ball is moving. And you're trying to watch that, and there's just times where it just, it tricks a batter. Sometimes it tricks us too. And we make a bad call. So I think it's the human element of it, which I love. And I just don't think people watching the games realize how fast and hard these guys are throwing. I mean, they're throwing so hard the ball's moving like half a foot.
It's like a blur. Anything above like 95,
Yeah.
like it just looks the same. It's just a
Yeah.
blur.
It looks the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy.
It scares me if I'm behind the plate. It'd scare me.
Yeah.
So then going into that, being behind home plate and these balls coming so fast, we'll talk about a really scary injury that you had that one game where it was the Reds and the Giants, correct? And I know the fastball was kind of up in the zone, and I don't know if he went out to bunt it or what happened.
Yeah.
And he pulled back, and the catcher didn't catch it. Where did that catch you at?
That got me pretty much right in the mouth.
Yeah, see, I was sitting in class today, and I remember
Probably
Ashley.
felt good.
Yeah, Ashley
Yeah,
told me
no.
about it, so I pulled it up, and I was watching it in class, and just and then
I had a concussion. Of that, and I think my medical guy told us it was the longest concussion. It was 3 weeks it took me to get back, and it actually messed up my vision in my left eye.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I got like a tiny little contact in my eye that's kind of
Okay.
I mean,
for that.
90 plus to the mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that being enjoyable.
But I'll tell you, my worst one was
Yeah.
I was in spring training back in 2007. Randy Johnson was pitching. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
And Todd Helton was hitting. It was a spring training game.
I might have been at that.
You
honestly. Because I used to always go to those. Was
Up
it
in Tucson? Yeah,
I used
yeah.
to always go.
I've
To
been to one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Well, Helton fouled one off, and I think it was like 97 or 98. And it once again hit me right in the jaw, and I felt this.
It's a ball magnet.
Yeah, I know. I felt this numbness down my right arm. I didn't think anything of it, and I kind of tried to brush it off or whatever. And then next couple of days I'm on the bases, and there was a pop up, and I went to look up, and I don't know if you guys ever play football. When you hit someone, you get like a stinger.
Mm-hmm.
I went to look up, and this thing shut down my back. I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong. So I called up our medical person, and I said, I think I might have done something to my neck. So he's like, all right, well, tomorrow drive to Phoenix, because I was in Tucson, and he goes, we'll get an MRI, and then we'll find out what's wrong. So I drive up the next day, and I take the MRI, and I'm driving back to Tucson, and my boss calls me up, and it was Richie Garcia, ex-American League umpire, and he's like, hey, where are you at right now? And I said, I'm driving between Tucson and Phoenix. He goes, can you pull over? And I'm thinking, oh God, this can't be good. So I ended up pulling over, and he ends up telling me, you cracked your vertebrae in your neck. So I ended up missing the whole season that year, and they had to put a plate in my neck with some bone marrow and kind of patch up that crack. But that was, and the funny thing is that I was totally cool with it. I was like, my wife was there, she was walking me in, and I was great with it. And I'm like, all right, babe, I'll be fine. I'll give her a kiss. Yeah, no, I didn't even know that. That time was a year, but I gave her a kiss, and this nurse runs up to me, and she goes, oh, sir, you got to sign this. She goes, there's a 40% chance you could be paralyzed. And I'm sitting there going,
let me sign
no one
this.
ever said anything about being paralyzed.
Crazy.
Yeah, I swear to God.
As you're just walking out the door, hey, sign this. Your life might be over.
Yeah.
So talking about that, I don't know if that has any mental impact on you, but are you ever behind the plate and are thinking about that, or thinking about a ball ricocheting off of a bat? And then
No, never. No.
Yeah, because I mean, personally, I hurt my knee in high school. I tore my ACL.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes when I make cuts, it's kind of in my head.
Yeah,
something like that where you just are thinking about it sometimes. So I was just wondering if that.
But I'll tell you what, though, when I do get hit in the head, that's the first thing
That's
I think
first,
of.
yeah.
Is like, I'm thinking, is there going to be any tingling anymore?
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
Okay.
if there's tingling, then I might have a problem.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Cool.
if I don't get any tingling, then I'm good with it.
Yeah, so we touched on it a little bit. The replay system. It's relatively new to baseball. I don't know, last 5 years.
I'd say 5 years.
Yeah. So obviously, it's changed the way umpiring has kind of made its course. Has it changed the way you umpire? What is your whole stance on the replay system? Do you think it takes away like the true validity and the true value of baseball? What's your whole stance on that?
Well, I don't think it. To me personally, it doesn't change anything I do.
Okay.
The thing I like about it is that, there's those plays where I mean, with TV now, I mean, with technology and HD cameras and all this stuff,
Yeah.
when a guy's safe and you're calling him out and he's a foot past the bat, what I'm saying? I think in those situations it helps out,
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants a game that, we had a guy that had a no-hitter going, an umpire at first base, and this is back about 10 years ago, and he ended up calling the play safe at first, and the guy was out. And it cost the young kid his no-hitter, and that umpire felt horrible for years. And if replay was on back then, it would have gave him his no-hitter. So we don't ever want to be a part of anything
To affect the game.
to
like
affect
that?
the game,
Okay.
even though sometimes that does happen. So in ways, at first I didn't like it. I don't think any of us did. But now getting everything right is to us is the most important thing.
And so what is the most called thing in terms of replay? Is it out safe? Is it the out safe call?
I
Is
think
that the one that's most called?
I think like 60% or 65% are plays at first base.
Oh, so that's okay. So
Like
it's
force
mostly
plays.
happening right on first base.
First base, yeah, force plays. Then I think it's steal plays at second.
Okay. So it has really nothing to do with other. It's not really a whole lot of other stuff. It's mostly the second and first base, the
Yeah,
steals.
and you can have play at third base or something. And then,
Yeah.
like behind the plate, they can review hit by pitches,
Okay.
tags and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then I'm not too. Is there a Is that how does that whole thing for the people that don't know? How does it come about? Is it a challenge or is that how it works? And is it challenged only by the manager? Is it by the pitcher?
It's each team gets one challenge
Per game.
Per game.
Okay,
It's by the pitcher. By the manager.
Okay.
But if they challenge before the 8th inning and get it right, then they keep the challenge.
Oh, so it's kind of like football, okay,
right?
in terms
And
of,
but
yeah.
if say say you're the manager, you challenge me and you get it wrong, I was
lose
right.
it.
You're done until the 8th inning.
Oh, so then you get another one after the 8th inning?
After the 8th
Okay,
inning, then
okay.
it becomes what they call a crew chief review.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so they can come to us and say, "Hey, we'd like you to look at that," and then I don't think we've ever said no.
Yeah.
We always do go look at it because you want to get things right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
But I think also in the postseason they give it they go up to 2 challenges.
And is there
increases in
And
postseason?
Yeah.
I know in football it's becoming increasingly new, and they want to get into basketball where they have the headsets. Has that been talked about at all in terms of umpiring?
Baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or do you guys already have them? Where like
No.
I guess the replay system, the replay officials are in there. Has that been talked about?
There's an independent league. I don't know where it's at exactly, and they were going to do it this year.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to put a microphone. They were going to have the computer called the pitch.
Oh, really? So what you see on TV?
What you see on TV, and then it would monitor in the umpire's ear, and then he would have to call it. But last thing I heard, which I don't think they start till June, is they were going to kibosh it because their technology is just not up to being able to
In
call
terms
it.
of,
Yeah, because they're gonna like even on TV now, that box you watch on TV, it's
the pitch FX thing?
it's not accurate. Mm-hmm. We have a system ourselves that they use for us that is, I guess, pretty accurate. But you'll see a lot of pitches where they'll cross the knee, but the catcher ends up catching on the ground. Well, that machine's going to call that a strike. Well, that's not, baseball
Not the
doesn't
case,
want
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want a ball in the dirt being called a strike.
Yeah.
It's not softball. Like,
Yeah,
softball, they
exactly.
throw it in there.
Yeah.
Goes through the zone, but it bounces. It's still a strike.
Yeah, that's interesting. This
Yeah.
is all so new to me because I watch baseball. I'm one of the guys. I'll be honest. I'm one of the guys that watches it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There's always all those other sports that I watch more. So it's just cool to see from firsthand. It's just interesting to see like the whole replay system in terms of other sports. It's just kind of cool to me because this is all new. Everything you're saying is new to me.
So, what are your thoughts on the MLB wanting to speed up games? The whole pitch clock for the pitchers where they have like 30 seconds, and then in between innings they have the 2 minutes.
Right.
What do you think about that? Do you like the idea of speeding up the game a little bit?
I do. I think I think those are all great ideas, and I think it's just going to take a little bit of time because in the minor leagues they have that 30-second rule with the pitchers, and they have a couple other different ideas they do. But I think the players at the major league level are so used to doing it their way right now that once these younger kids come up, they're going to be used to doing that in their games, and then it'll be a lot easier to implement.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see that, especially because you have a lot of the veteran pitchers who like to take their time up there, and you can see them calculating what they're going to do because those guys, it's so mental for them for each batter.
Right.
So I can totally see that, but it's great that the younger guys are getting the exposure to all of these rule changes, so that whenever those veteran guys are gone and they're the ones that are in the show now, that they can really implement.
We actually had the 30-second clock in spring training this year, and it went really well.
And I think
but it's got to pass the players' union. That's the thing it's got to get through for it to be implemented. They have to agree to it.
You saw I think it was Bryce Harper or something, and Mike Trout. Don't watch it then. If you don't like the way that it's played, don't watch it. And then that's just kind of for it to work and it kind of be successful. It kind of people say it takes away the true value of baseball, and it's kind of taking away its soul in terms of the way it's always been, because it's America's pastime, and then all the best players in the world are saying just don't watch the sport. If it bothers you that much, don't watch it. And it's just, but I feel like more people would watch it if there was the rule change in terms of trying to speed the game up, because more people would want to watch longer periods of the game. It's kind of, I don't know. It's just, I think that's a cool thing that is talked about in terms of baseball.
So just recently, obviously with Ashley a lot with the athletic department, we work every single baseball game, and we actually got to have you throw out the first pitch. That was pretty cool to see that. Have you noticed the community kind of embrace the fact that you've made it this far? Because there's not many people not from Cruces, but that reside in Cruces that are able to say that. Have you noticed local support from your friends, family, obviously family, but people around the community? Have you noticed anything like that?
Yeah, I have. I'm kind of a what's the word, Ash? I'm kind of a loner. I like introvert kind of a little bit. So, I'll go somewhere and I won't even really tell anybody what I do. So I think the first 10 years I was here, I don't think many people really knew it.
Yeah.
And then I started coming to the games here, football and basketball, and then meeting people and stuff. And then first thing is, what do you do for a living? And then you tell someone, and then it's been very good.
No, that's super cool. So we're getting towards the end of our interview now, so we've got a couple miscellaneous things. Do you have a favorite venue to umpire at? Is there a stadium or a city or?
Yeah, you know what? I like those old ballparks.
Okay,
I like Wrigley Field, Fenway Park. Really, those are the only two. Yeah, the old traditional, and there's just something about it. To this day, you could walk in either one of those parks, and I don't know how they get away with it, but it smells like cigar smoke.
Okay.
And that's what I remember as a kid, because back then you could smoke a cigar at the ballpark. So I don't know if that does something in my mind or something, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like the old venues.
So where are you headed? Do you got a series you're going to this week or this weekend, or where are you headed?
Yeah, I was able to come home. My middle daughter Angelina got confirmed.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
on Monday, so I got 4 days. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. So I'm
4 days.
4 days. 4 days. I love it.
Licking your chops at 4 days. I've been there.
I'm heading back to Miami on Friday.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
But who's Miami playing?
I haven't looked at that yet. I'm trying to enjoy my time here. Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like Homer. You don't look until the dates, dude. I'm just like.
So I had another question. When you, you're obviously at the baseball field for hours and hours and hours on end. When you go home, do you watch baseball on TV, or are you kind of burnt out?
I do not watch
you don't watch it
at all.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We get there 2 hours before the game. Then we work the game. Then usually you're there an hour after watching videos of plays and stuff like that.
Yeah, because there's film. It's not like you just show up and leave and you're coming back the next day. It's the same thing.
And then you got to study they send you stuff on your plays at first, second, third. They give you your plate scores and stuff like that. So time I get back to the room, I just want to watch Netflix and just get away from it, you know. And then also, too, now we go into replay 3 weeks a year. Okay. So we're there 7 hours a day when we're there watching games. So I get my fill of watching the games when I'm doing the replay stuff. So I don't watch it.
Yeah. No, definitely.
All right, so we have I think the interview's about wrapped up. We have our last thing that we do with every guest, and it's where it's
Uh-oh.
all-time top 5. So obviously, you said you can't talk about any players now.
Right.
So let's hear your all-time top 5.
It doesn't have to be baseball.
It doesn't have to
could
be baseball, so it could be any athlete that.
We know you're a big Chicago guy. You want to throw all those Bears in there. and
Top 5 what? What's going to be my thing? Top 5 favorite players?
Yeah, of all time. Yeah.
athletes.
Oh,
Be
oh, okay.
Blackhawks,
okay.
hockey, anybody.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my childhood favorite, Walter Payton, running back for the Bears.
Always a good choice.
Yeah.
Let's see if he goes the same route, because Ashley did this. She had all Chicago.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Then I'm going to go with Mike Ditka,
Okay.
coach of the Bears.
Yep.
I'm a Bears fan. You guys can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Solid answer.
How about the local boy, Brian Urlacher?
There you
Okay.
go. There you go.
Love the way he plays.
Yeah, that's it.
3 out of 5 are Chicago.
Let's see. Baseball. You know what? I'm gonna go with a baseball player. My idol growing up was Bill Buckner. You guys probably don't even remember that guy.
Oh yeah, no.
But he was
No,
the
Ethan
first baseman
definitely does.
for the Dodgers and the Cubs.
Ethan
Okay.
100% knows.
He knows it. So I got one more, right?
Yep, one more.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with.
No, Jordan?
I'm not a basketball person.
Okay.
No.
Just like your daughter.
I'm gonna say
I said Devin Hester.
That's a good one, though.
that is a good one. I'll say Mike Singletary.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Three linebackers. Three linebackers, a first
He's
baseman
going
and
for
a
ball.
running back. Yeah.
That's a scary five right there.
I'm not playing football.
I played linebacker. Yeah, middle linebacker. Yeah.
There it is. You got
Yeah.
3 middle linebackers right there.
I want to thank you guys for having me. This
Well, yeah,
has
no,
been
we
so much
appreciate you.
fun.
This is
Yeah,
awesome.
we
Thank you so
appreciate.
much.
We're trying to obviously expand our reach, and this definitely helps us in the.
Well, you guys are going to expand it because you guys are awesome
Yeah.
at this.
Well, we
appreciate it,
we
seriously.
appreciate it. So, Mr. Randazzo, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate
It was a
it.
real pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys, that was Tony Randazzo there. Awesome interview. What did you guys think? Ethan?
Ethan, speak. Oh my god, that's why he didn't speak. He wanted a joke.
He's trying to get his last round in so he can have more points.
Why did the blonde smear peanut butter on the road?
Dude, I don't know.
What?
Who would...
Why did the blonde smear peanut butter on the road?
Dude, what?
Why did the blonde spill peanut butter on?
Quit looking it
Dude,
up.
I want to look it up just for me. But I'm not looking it up.
Why did the blonde spill peanut? So that she didn't get run over? I don't know. Just cross the road.
Dude,
No,
go with
shut
that.
up. You
I don't look it up. I do not look it up. I do not look it up. Dude, it's to go with the traffic jam.
Okay, well, I just want to point out that I get the point because this guy looked it up.
No.
And yes, it is because there was a traffic jam.
Dude, is that how you've been getting all of them?
No, the other ones I've just been guessing, but this one I had to know.
So what's the score?
I have.
I got it.
I now have 10. And
We have 4.
You have 4.
This is kind of unfair for us.
We're not supposed to. We're supposed to lose
Yeah,
these.
you guys, you're supposed to suck at these.
Okay,
Unless we
anyways.
study jokes.
Ethan, what did you think about Tony Randazzo?
Oh, dude, I loved it. I mean, it was great to have a different sport, a guest from a different sport on. I mean, nothing against the guests we've had. We've had excellent guests, but I think this one was my favorite just because baseball is my favorite sport, and being able to hear some of the stories, some of his thoughts on where the MLB's going. Even, I mean, his story about, I mean, as bad as it sounds, whenever he got hurt, but the fact that he was behind the plate with Randy Johnson, who I grew up just loving, with Todd
He was
Helton.
my favorite player growing up.
Todd Helton, that guy.
Todd Helton too for the Rockies, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, one of the best first basemen ever. And just hearing
I
those
think I have his
names-
autograph
Me too.
from spring training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touch Mountain?
Yeah. So I mean, just hearing stuff like that. I mean, the fact that he umpired in the World
Right.
Series.
The
I
one,
mean,
especially that one too.
yeah. I mean,
the
that's
most.
one of the best series in a long time.
Because
He's
it
going
went 7 games.
Yeah, it went 7 games.
Also the circumstances.
Oh yeah. I mean, there were, both teams. I mean, the Indians.
I'm honestly surprised they let him do that, considering he's a Chicago guy.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, you heard before he, like, came in, can't really get into anything about players and stuff like that. So, I mean, these guys, umpires, I mean, they have, like, pretty strict code as to, they can't show favoritism and stuff like that. So, I mean, he could have been a White Sox fan, What was your favorite part, T?
I just like learning from him. being on the outside of the baseball game and just kind of having no knowledge on the inside of it and basically just knowing how baseball works. That's all I know, how baseball works. But to learn about all the stuff that he has experienced and basically, especially experiences like with some of the newer things like the rule changes and the replay system and throwing players out and the new routes of JUCO and stuff like that. It was cool to hear from him, and especially he was such a cool guy, man. He's only here for a few days. He took time out of his day and his time away from his family while he's with his family to come talk to us for.
If you want to think about it, he's been umpiring longer than you've been alive.
Let's speak.
So that he's definitely experienced, and he's seen so many things. Like he's seen the game progress from very limited, almost no instant replay, just full human error.
Yeah.
All the way up to now. They're talking about having machines called balls and strikes.
Yeah, which is I think it takes away the whole pure factor of the game. But what do we got?
So what we'll do with this guest is we like to do, not every guest, but for some guests we're going to do giveaways. If you guys retweet and like this, you have to do both. You have to favorite and retweet this tweet that the podcast is going to be linked on. You will be given a chance to win a signed baseball from Tony Randazzo. So if you want that signed baseball by a professional umpire who's reffed at the biggest stage of baseball.
He's known for being one of the best in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely one of the best in the game.
So if you want an autographed baseball by Mr. Randazzo, go ahead and retweet and favorite this, and you guys will be entered to win. But that's all we have for Friday, May the 3rd.
May the 4th be with you guys
Tomorrow is May the 4th, and if you guys aren't doing anything, come out to Presley Askew. Come see your boy. I'm Darth Vader tomorrow. Tomorrow.
And be sure to tell my little brother happy birthday on Sunday. Little Aaron. His kid's turning 10.
Double digits.
10. Yep, hitting double digits.
That's tough, dude.
Yeah, dude. That kid's going to be a pain in the ass.
Wow, dude. You guys are both dropping the A-bombs on here, dude.
Dude, you dropped the F-bomb the other day.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
You can't call us out and then act like you didn't drop the F-bomb.
Go back and try to find it. If you can find it, I'll give you a high five. Okay, guys, that's all we have for this podcast on Friday, May the 3rd. We'll be right back here on Monday.
Get on with your bad selves.
Watch some
baseball.
Yep. We out!
Bye, buddy.
That's good.